The Anne Livingston 10 Series Painting Challenge is a few weeks in, and in this video I'll be talking about how it's going. Will I paint 10 paintings before the deadline of April 3rd? And we'll go over what are the benefits of painting in a series. So here's the update. For those who are new here, welcome to my channel. And for those returning, I'm so glad you're here. I just wanted to say a special thank you to Imogen from the #1 Ladies Club for mentioning my channel a couple of weeks back. I really appreciate the support and the shout out. So my name's Kim. I'm a 52-year-old Gen Xer, and I'm using my art history and marketing background to create an art business and this YouTube channel. It's a place for people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond to find inspiration from each other and to take a chance on their art. 2 weeks ago, on January 30th, I decided to join Anne Livingston's 10 Painting Series Challenge. I decided that I was really going to challenge myself with 10 16 by 20 oil landscapes. Let's talk about what makes a series. Here are some practical tips for painting in a series. Choose your theme. Start with something that genuinely excites you. I initially had 10 prairie landscape photos selected out of the huge library of photos that I keep on my phone. They all had very dramatic skies, and as I looked at the photos and started working on the first piece, I noticed that was really the only commonality. So as I worked through my first piece, I noticed that I was really drawn to not only dramatic lighting, but to photos that had a road or highway or street featured in it. So I'll put up the initial 10 photos that I had chosen, and I will probably paint all of these at some time. Not right now, but for right now, I'm focused on my refined list. They still are prairie landscapes, and they still feature dramatic skies. And I have the first one here. Finished, except for a few touch-ups around the edges. But I'm happy with this one, and I'm calling this one complete. Channel up. I also put a time-lapse video of painting the final detail of the truck in Small Town Vespers. I'll link that in the description below so that you can check that out. I have the second one here on the easel that I thought I was a little further along with it, but the more I look at it, the more I need to add some more layers. Because I'm just, I don't know. I took a couple of days off. I was away for the weekend and come back to it with fresh eyes. And I realized that there's some elements like the road and the hills that I need to add some more detail to. And definitely things like the car here. I need to brighten this up. Yeah, it's not quite done. Right now, I have 1 and I'll say 3/4 done. And I have the start of number 3. So I have the canvas toned for that. So in choosing your theme, consider practical constraints like your available time and space, the materials you have access to, and the technical skills required. Do you have the canvases that you need? Do you have the paints that you're needing for completing the series? I knew that using oil would be very challenging because there is the drying time that I need to factor in. Unlike acrylics, which dry really quickly, I have that as a constraint. But it's something that I wanted to push myself and to get faster at creating paintings. My first completed painting is really the fastest painting of that size that I've completed. So I'm taking that as a win in this challenge. In painting in a series, planning your scope. Begin with a defined number. For this series, the goal is 10, but It can be 5 or 7. You want to choose a number of pieces that is small enough to feel achievable, but large enough to show progression. In this series challenge, not everyone is aiming for 10. They've decided on 5 or 8 or whatever's achievable. I have to keep in mind that maybe went a little over ambitious. I'm going to start working in multiples while I think about what I want to do with this one. I'll get the preliminary sketch done for my second piece. Or, no, this is number 2. For number 3, decide on consistent elements, common things like size, medium, and color palette. With this, they're all 16 by 20, they're all oils, they're all landscapes, they all have the road running through them. For color palette, because they are landscapes, there will be a lot of green elements. So how do you maintain momentum when you're undertaking a large project like this? Set up a dedicated workspace. I'm lucky enough that I have a room that I can devote to all my painting supplies. But if you have just a section on a dining room table or in a laundry room or in a corner of your living room, keep all your supplies all together so that when inspiration strikes, you can sit down and work on your painting. Also establish a routine. I was trying really hard to put in some time every day. I work from 8 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. So that gives me time in the evening that I can devote a half hour, 45 minutes to an hour and get quite a lot done. And breaking it into smaller, manageable chunks makes the process a lot easier. As I said earlier, work on simultaneous paintings at one time. I showed canvas number 3 that's prepped for the underpainting, ready for the preliminary sketch. And so don't be afraid to bounce back and forth between different pieces. Sometimes taking a break from one might be all that you need to figure out any problematic areas or challenges that you're having so that you can come back to the piece with a renewed enthusiasm for it. I need a sip of coffee. It is really cold. I took a screenshot to show my sister what we're going through here in Saskatchewan. She lives in Ontario. It was minus 49 with the wind chill this morning. So that's why I have my heavy sweatshirt and a layer underneath, and it's so cold. I've also been taking progress photos to track my progress. I also find it helps me see things better that just looking at the painting, I sometimes don't recognize, but by having that separation of taking a photo, I can zoom in and I get a better overall sense of what is problematic and what I need to refine or add to. So another thing to consider in maintaining momentum is preventing burnout, because when you take on a project like doing multiple painting series, you can get overwhelmed by the size and scope. So take breaks between pieces. Allow room for spontaneity. You might have pictures for your series, but if one appeals to you more, you don't have to go in any particular order. Basically, whatever one appeals to me the most, that's the next one I'm working on. So it's not that I have any set order for how I'm tackling this series. Another thing you can do is keep a series journal for ideas and reflections. Make notes of things that went well, things that you need to refine, things that you would do differently if you tackled this subject again. And another consideration is building connections between your pieces. Create visual threads that tie the pieces together. Repeated elements or motifs. Do you have a consistent color palette? Are you limiting your colors so that there's a cohesive body based on color? Or similar composition structures? These are all things that can create a cohesive body of work within this larger project. So Also allow for evolution. Each piece should inform the next. When you have them together, you should be able to see that they're part of a larger body of work, and look for natural progression points. Be open to unexpected directions. I had one working on this. I thought that I was happy with this. Taking those couple days off, I realized that it needs a bit more work. I'm not happy with certain colors in there. Just it's a way to grow your skills while you're building up a larger body of work. Thoughts for growing your series. Start small, but stay open to expansion. There's nothing that says that once you do a series based on a theme that you can't add on to it or have an offshoot from that original series. You can do a mini series within the larger overarching theme. Also know when to conclude or transition to a new series. Tackling a different subject matter or using a different color scheme or even using a different medium to try and challenge you. I was thinking that it might be interesting to take these paintings and do them all again, but try them in acrylic to see what similarities and what differences I can learn from that challenge. In knowing when to conclude or transition to a new series, have you achieved your learning goals? Do you feel ready for a new challenge? And have you thoroughly explored the concept? These are all things to keep in mind for creating the next series. So my question is, have you ever worked in a series, or have you ever considered working in a series? Let me know in the comments below your experience with that. If it's something that you've done in the past or something that you might try in the future. Share your story in the comments. Until next time, take care, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for joining me today.